Your organization.
You are attacking our news organization.
I'm making this presentation directly to the American people with the media present, which is an honor to have you this morning, because many of our nation's reporters and folks will not tell you the truth. Russia is a ruse. It's all fake news. It's all a ruse. Not true. It's all fake news. Russia is a ruse. Fake. It's all fake news. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake.
The government. I received this link from a friend to replace the Alexandria COVID vaccine card with a CDC one. Is this a legitimate link? Yes, it is. No, it's not. Are they real? Yes. Where did you get them from? Have connections. So today we are going to be taking a look at the fake vaccination record cards because I have fallen down the rabbit hole of insanity into QAnon and the anti-vax community. And one of the things that happened recently is someone was caught using several vaccines in order to make these cards here in Germany. They got an entire 90 shots. And I just don't think that you should do that. So we have to talk about that today and what that means for our world going forward. So if you're into that, stay tuned.
They will pander to anyone just for the views. And they're starting to attack Reddit posters. Their egos are fragile, cause of Clinton voters. Because what else can they do but threaten to dox all of you? Clinton, you must serve her. Push Russia, not the Seth Rich murder. Even if it's a big old nothing burger. Come on, please stop telling lies. Because who can we trust if we can't trust the news? Propaganda perpetrated by the...
No, we can't say that. No.
Fake news is fake news. CNN is fake news. That's why everybody hates you. Why can't you tell the truth? Fake news, fake news. CNN is fake news. They will pander to anyone just for the views.
Your organization.
You are attacking our news organization.
Your organization.
Can you give us a
Terrible.
chance
Let's
to ask
go.
a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can
Quiet.
you...
A German man got 90 COVID-19 shots to sell forged vaccination cards. Again, the irony of this is killing me because I am assuming that this gentleman was also anti-vax if he was willing to do this. So let's see what this report says. A 60-year-old man allegedly had himself vaccinated against COVID-19 dozens of times in Germany in order to sell forged vaccination cards with real vaccine batch numbers to people not wanting to get vaccinated themselves. The man from the eastern Germany city of Magdeburg, whose name was not released in line with Germany privacy rules, is said to have received up to 90 shots against COVID-19 at vaccination centers in the eastern state of Saxony for months until criminal police caught him earlier this month, the German news agency DPA reported on Sunday. The suspect was not detained but is under investigation for unauthorized issuance of vaccination cards and document forgery, DPA reported. He was caught at a vaccination center in Eilenburg in Saxony when he showed up for a COVID-19 shot for the second day in a row. Police confiscated several blank vaccination cards from him and initiated criminal proceedings. It was not immediately clear what kind of impact... Wait a minute. What? That's not good. It was not immediately clear what kind of impact the approximately 90 shots of COVID-19 vaccines, which were from different brands, had on the man's personal health. German police have conducted many raids in connection with forgery of vaccination passports in recent months. Many COVID-19 deniers, they're just lovely people, refuse to get vaccinated in Germany, but at the same want to have the coveted COVID-19 passports that make access to public life and many venues such as restaurants, theaters, swimming pools, or workplaces much easier. Of course they do. There is now a danger that, on the one hand, children who wear masks will be teased by classmates as wimps and overprotective, or, on the other hand, pressure will be exerted on non-mask wearers. Heinz-Peter Meldinger, the president of the German Teachers Association, told DPA. He advocated voluntary commitment by teachers and students to continue to wear masks in class and on school grounds, at least until the country goes on a 2-week Easter holiday. Health experts say the most recent surge of infections in Germany are triggered by the BA2 Omicron subvariant, and they may have peaked. On Sunday, the country's disease control agency reported 74,053 new COVID-19 infections, less than a week before the publication of this, which was a few days ago, when the Robert Koch Institute registered 11,224 daily infections. However, usually the number of reported infections is lower on weekends. We don't get sick on the weekend. Overall, Germany has registered 130,029 COVID-19 deaths. Yes, that many people have died there from this virus, and somehow we are still thinking that it is not real or that we should not protect ourselves from it. I have also put up on the screen here the Canadian cases, which they also had at the bottom of this article because it came from Global. And as you can see, we had over 3 million confirmed cases. We have over 37, almost 38,000 deaths. And we need to continue to protect ourselves against this in the best ways that we can. And we do not need fake vaccination record cards. It drives me insane that when we did need the vaccination record cards, people were forging them. It is illegal to forge these cards. Even in the USA, anyone dealing in phony vaccination cards may be prosecuted with forging a seal or false personation of an official. If you did receive the vaccine, do not post photos of your vaccine card to social media websites. Your personal information could be stolen to commit fraud. The district attorney's office is warning the public about reports of advertisements on social media sites such as Instagram offering fake vaccination cards. Yes, this has been a thing this entire time where there are people out there that are COVID deniers and they do not want to get the vaccine. We even have people that claim that they aren't anti-vax, but they just don't want to get this one. And so even in the US, they asked everyone to report suspicious activity involving fake vaccination record cards. They asked you to contact the appropriate government agency and even to do an IC3 report if you could. Vaccines have already been proven to eradicate several diseases, including smallpox, which was actually brought back by the anti-vax community and their conspiracy theories. I think it is awful that they are now going after the COVID vaccine. So they have actually began to evaluate the successes of the vaccines, right? And between 1990 and 2010, there had been up to an 80% reduction in deaths from vaccine preventable diseases. A dramatic example is the benefit of global measles vaccination. And that is the vaccine that the anti-vax community claimed could cause autism, right? So by 1990, according to the GBD, 631,200 people died of measles and its complications. Currently, less than 100,000 people die annually. They have released a Vaxxed documentary, and don't worry, because if you missed the propaganda of the first one, they are doing a second one called The People's Truth, in which they are going to talk about how vaccines are actually supposed to be killing us, including the COVID vaccine. They are anti-mask, and apparently they don't seem to care about people getting sick or even dying from these diseases, which makes the anti-vax community one of the scariest cults in the world. Yes, I called it a cult. It is now linked to QAnon, which, by the way, is also a cult. So now let's just take a moment and talk about the culty crap. I have talked a lot about COVID and how I feel about people wearing masks and following the mandate. I think everyone realizes that when it comes to COVID, I am pro-vaccine. I do think that it is important to get vaccinated. I am fully vaccinated. My husband is fully vaccinated. My daughter is vaccinated, has all of her vaccines. And I have been following the connection with the anti-vax community via Trump, QAnon, and etc. and been talking about that out here for a little while. And so today I just want to take a moment, since it appears that they are also affecting Germany, other countries out there, and a lot of people don't realize that the US and Trump and all this anti-vax stuff with Mr. Wakefield has actually affected other countries, including me here in Canada, as we saw, I'm sure all of you saw, with the truck convoy. So I want to take a moment, of course, and just go through some new establishments that have happened with that. At the end of January, it came out that despite now pushing vaccines and boosters, Trump was actually praising the Canada anti-vax protesters. Yes, the ones that were all over my city here in Ottawa, and the demonstration that was against the vaccine requirement for cross-border drivers. But it did turn into a demonstration against the Trudeau government with a strong anti-vaccination streak. Trudeau and his family left downtown Ottawa because of security concerns, and that's a little bit sickening to me that we had to be concerned about that. About 90% of Canada's cross-border truckers and almost 79% of the population had 2 COVID-19 vaccine shots. So I'm not really sure what this was all about. To me, it was just a big anti-vax protest. Canada's Conservative Party supported this protest, of course, and they got very angry at Trudeau about it. The right-wing People's Party of Canada, which holds no seat in Parliament, by the way, turned out at the rally. Hopefully this never earns them a seat at Parliament. I'm just gonna throw that out there. There were protesters that harassed a soup kitchen and all kinds of awful things that happened. So the fact that Trump is supporting this, even though he's apparently now okay with the vaccines, just goes to show you that a lot of this does have to do with the US, not to mention a lot of these protesters came from the US. We had people from the US that came here to Canada to help protest. As of yesterday, a naturopathic doctor admits to selling fake COVID vaccine cards, and this was in San Francisco. Julie A. Mazzi, who's 41, of Napa, pled guilty in federal court in San Francisco to 1 count of wire fraud and 1 count of false statements related to healthcare matters, which means that this person was probably giving bad advice when it came to the COVID vaccine. So they also sold homeopathic pellets she fraudulently claimed would provide lifelong immunity to COVID. And this literally just came out yesterday. They got a complaint in April of last year to the Department of Health and Human Services, and this woman is scheduled to be sentenced on July 29th. So I will keep you updated on that. It is just amazing to me that we actually have doctors out here that are even selling these fake COVID vaccine cards. That should not be happening. And the fact that we have professionals that have fallen into this cult almost goes to show you how culty this actually is. One theory that this cult has is the release of COVID as a mechanism for population control in China. China had recently revoked their one-child policy and encouraged its people to have more children, owing to a dearth in childbirths and an aging population. Releasing a virus that wrecks economies can affect those of all ages, although not in equal numbers, would lack the control needed for population reduction without the risk of collapsing a society. So that is one of the reasons why they think that this COVID vax happened. This is the modulus tollens argument. It's a logically valid form of argumentation. The modus tollens rule can be stated formally as this. We know I don't do math. A simple example of a modus tollens argument. If Rex is a chicken, then he is a bird. Rex is not a bird, therefore Rex is not a chicken. Even though some of the arguments that the anti-vaxxers have may be logically valid. That doesn't mean that it's a logically sound argument, and that doesn't mean that the premises of the argument is true. If you understand the numbers and can analyze the data on COVID like me, you understand that vaccination is bad. There can be different ways to analyze data giving different outcomes. Adding to this, it has the hidden premise that her interpretation is objectively correct, and if you analyze the data like other people do, those in the anti-vax community, it will show that vaccination is bad. Then we have the issue of the data itself. The data could be incorrect even. There could be confirmation bias or even cherry-picked data to suit the person's beliefs. Bias research. Stephen Hassan, who all of us know is my Lord and Savior, there is a disturbing rise of the cult of hardline anti-vaxxers even here in Canada. I found this article, and Stephen Hassan, the U.S. cult expert and former Mooney cult member, says anti-vaxxers are using the same tactics as religious cults to gain followers. He says cult leaders use emotional control techniques that expose people to a series of persistent irrational fears that initiate a closed cycle of fearful images, thoughts, and feelings. Anti-vax influencers, which exist, like Jenny McCarthy, are using the same techniques today, noting they use social media to bombard their targets with message that sow doubt, fear, and confusion about the COVID-19 vaccines. Specifically, they highlight examples of adverse vaccine reactions without saying how rare they are, withhold positive information about the vaccines, distort information by misinterpreting data, casting doubt about public health experts, and spreading outright lies on social media about vaccines. Here in Canada, cult-like anti-vaxxers are stepping up their tactics of harassment and intimidation. I get doxxed and swatted by all the US ones though, just saying, especially against healthcare professionals and politicians, all with the aim of getting them to reverse their stand on the need for vaccinations and some lockdown restrictions. They also say that journalists are targeted by anti-vax cultists. We need to start sharing good information about the vaccines from trusted medical experts. We cannot be engaging with anti-vaxxers on social media to point out the errors and lies in their misinformation campaigns, because it can backfire by just spreading their lies to a wider audience. And I think that's a good point. And we need to insist that police act to ensure the safety of healthcare workers and others like us journalists and people on YouTube just saying, by laying criminal charges against anti-vaxxers who harass or intimidate people, but we should not remain silent. As the medical officer of health stated so forcefully in Healthy Debates, we need to act urgently before more individuals are recruited. Their support base grows and confidence in vaccines and public health more broadly erodes further. And I do strongly agree with that. So even according to Stephen Hassan, the anti-vaxxers are now a cult that is fueled by paranoia and conspiracy theories. So, I think it's something that we do need to keep talking about. So if you don't believe me blabbling on for the last couple years about how this thing is a cult, maybe you will believe Stephen Hassan and anyone else out there that says it is a cult. I do not get my vaccine information from people on social media. They do not tell me what to do when it comes to parenting my child or when it comes to protecting myself from COVID, and I don't think that they should be trusted to tell anyone either. Most of the information out there that is anti-vax just comes from psychos on social media. When it comes to this virus, anything that the anti-vax community is spreading is definite fake news. So now I do have to say it does make me laugh a little bit whenever I do hear Trump talking about fake news. Yeah, I'm looking at the anti-vax community, I'm looking at the anti-maskers, and I'm looking at all those people because they are spreading some fake news about vaccines, and I think that all needs to stop. So yes, the anti-vax community is now a cult, and they are having people make fake vaccine passports. We no longer need to carry a vaccine passport here in Canada, and in most places I hear they have been taken away. Thanks, trucker convoy, you jerks. So basically, it's not as big of an issue right now. My concern is that with future pandemics, that this will happen again, and because of that, I do think that we basically need to shut up the anti-vaxxers. We need to stop the QAnon anti-vax cult, and we need to tell Trump to stop supporting anti-vax convoys when he's apparently okay with vaccines now. Someone let him know for me. Okay, thank you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thought it was important to talk about and just kind of sum this all up again, especially since Stephen Hassan has come out and stated that yes, the anti-vaxxers are a cult. So, that I've been talking about them since I've been out here, and there's a reason for that. Now you know. Please do give the video a like, share it around so that people understand. Make sure you get this out on Facebook and on Instagram. Those are two of the biggest anti-vax places, so spread it around. Maybe we can save some people from the cult, and, subscribe if you are new here. I would love it if you joined our fabulous, amazing members. All of the beautiful people do, and you don't want to be ugly like the orange man Trump, so, go hit that join button. And no matter where you are, what you're doing, I hope that you all have a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous day. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow for a special little story time live stream and hangout. So I hope you can all make it. Take care. Mwah. Bye. And do not join the anti-vax cult. I can't with this crap anymore. It's getting ridiculous.
I'm making this presentation directly to the American people, with the media present, which is an honor to have you. This morning, because many of our nation's reporters and folks will not tell you the truth. Russia is a ruse. It's all fake news. It's all a ruse. Not true. It's all fake news. Russia is a ruse. Fake. It's all fake news. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake. One of the reasons I'm here today is to tell you the whole Russian thing, that's a ruse. Russia is fake news. Russia, this is fake news. Well, I own nothing in Russia. I have no loans in Russia. Talk all you want about Russia. I don't have any deals in Russia. Tomorrow the headlines are going to be Donald Trump rants and raves. The press is out of control. Dishonesty is out of control. We're not going to let it happen because I'm here again to take my message straight to the people. Russia is a ruse. It's all fake news. It's all a ruse. Not true. It's all fake news. Russia is a ruse. Fake. It's all fake news. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake. Hillary Clinton gave Russia 20% of the uranium in our country. You know what uranium is, right? It's a thing called nuclear weapons and other things, like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things. Hillary gave away 20% of the uranium in the United States. She's close to Russia. I didn't do anything for Russia. Tomorrow you'll say, Donald Trump wants to get along with Russia. This is terrible. This is terrible. Russia is a ruse. It's all fake news. It's all a ruse. Not true. It's all fake news. Russia is a ruse. Fake. It's all fake news. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake.